Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So for this week, we are exploring something that maybe is a little more opinionated. And when I tell you what it is, you'll kind of understand what I mean. This week, we are taking a look at books that have an unlikable character of some sorts in them. And I know, why read a book that has an unlikable character? Well, everyone has kind of a different opinion. What characters they like and which ones they don't, which ones they find super annoying, which ones they don't understand why they're in the story. So we have 6 books we're going to take a look at today that have a character that someone has thought they were unlikable. Might be my opinion, might be someone else's opinion. You may not agree with it, but you may just want to read these books and find out for yourself if in fact this character is likable or unlikable. So let's get started. Our first one is the Hazelwood. So Alice Proserpine has been on the run for her whole life. Now, her grandmother in the 1980s wrote this book called Tales from the Hinterland, which is this collection of upsetting fairy tales, not your typical Disney fairy tales. These are gruesome, upsetting fairy tales. And they've kind of become this, has this cult following to them. And her mother, Ella, refuses to let Alice read these books. So fast forward, she's been on the run. Alice is 17 years old now, and her mother comes to her and says they can finally stop running because guess what? Her grandmother has passed away, and all of this this eerie bad luck that's been following them should be gone now, right? I mean, that's what anyone would think. But shortly after her grandmother passes, her mother goes missing, and Alice learns through this classmate, whose name is Ellery, who is part of this cult following, that her mother, the only way she's going to be able to find your mother, find secrets, whatever it's going to take, is if she goes to what's called the Hazelwood. And that is what her grandmother called her estate. Now, when she gets to the Hazelwood, again, things aren't what they seem, and all of a sudden Alice finds herself sucked in to her family's secrets and past mysteries, and she has no idea what she's going to find, and it's going to change everything. And then she finds that the hinterland is this real place there, and the lines between reality and the hinterland start to blur, and she has no idea what to believe, what's real, what isn't. Now, this is the first book in a duology. The second book is out, but if you love a good dark fantasy with little to no romance, this is this one. This is right up your alley. This is the Hazelwood. How to lead a life of crime. So 17-year-old Flick, he chooses to live on the streets. He's from this prosperous family, but he wants nothing to do with them, especially when he accuses his abusive father of killing his younger brother. And of course, nothing comes of it. So Flick finds himself living on the street, becoming a pickpocketer, and when he is asked to do this very specific task by this gentleman who just happens to come across him, and of course Flick is successful, then Flick finds himself being recruited to attend this school called the Mandel Academy. And it's sold as this boarding school for budding high-end criminals where he can go and learn the skills that he needs. And Flick sees this as a chance to learn those skills that are going to enact revenge on his abusive father. Now, when he gets to the school, though, there's something going on because when they're training, all of a sudden, students start turning up dead. And not only are they turning up dead, but then the training that he's being put through, such as blackmailing, drug dealing, how to be an assassin, these are all things that Flick was not told that he was going to have to go through. And he's kind of not agreeing with what's happening, and he has no idea how he's going to get out of this situation, especially when his girlfriend gets recruited to join the school. So it's not only his life on the line, it's now also her life on the line, and he has no idea. It's going to be up to everything he can figure out to get out alive while trying to, again, enact this revenge on his father. Now, this action-packed mystery is one that will leave you guessing as you turn. There's twists and turns throughout. And it will also leave you wondering, do these types of schools exist? And if they do, where are they? That type of deal. This is How to Lead a Life of Crime. Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Okay, so growing up in the city of Gatlin, there was this group of superheroes known as the Renegades, and they were supposed to keep the city and its people safe. That was their job, as superheroes. But when Nova was 6 years old, her faith in the Renegades quickly disappears when her whole family is killed by this unknown assassin, and the Renegades did nothing to stop it. Like, that was their job. That's what she was led to believe, that was the job of the Renegades, to keep its people safe, and they didn't, leaving her orphaned. And when she's 6 years old, but then her uncle takes her in, and she soon realizes that her uncle is a villain, and he's leading this underground other group of villains that they want to take on the Renegades, and they want to end up trying to like take them down. Now, as Nova grows up, she soon realizes that she has a talent too, and that can be used for this villain group. And she's more than happy to do it because, again, she hates the Renegades for what they did not do to help her family. So the best way they can think to get their plot going is for Nova to infiltrate the Renegades group, pretend that she's going to learn, she's going to be a superhero, but then she's going to be like a secret spy, like, you know, double spy type between the Renegades and the villains. Now, there's tons of backstabbing, there's plot twists, there's hidden agendas that you won't see coming, the characters don't see coming, so you are just as surprised as the characters are. Now, this is a completed trilogy. This is the first book in it. If you love superheroes, science fiction, if you like some drama, if you like edge of your seat action, this is one to add to your reading pile. This is Renegades. West of the Moon. So, Astrid is 13 years old when she is sold by her aunt and uncle. Now, they have been taking care of her and her younger sister because her mother's passed away. Her father has moved to America. No one really knows where he is other than he's in America. And so her aunt and uncle have been taking care of her and her younger sister. And they sell Astrid to this troll-looking, brutal, goat-keeping man named Salford. And it's Astrid's job to basically cook, tend the house, clean, take care of the goats for this brutal and abusive man. She soon finds herself trying to keep her spirits alive by telling herself these stories that she was told by her parents, these fairy tales, and then she soon also comes across this other girl who's living on this property, this mysterious girl that she won't talk, and she ends up calling her Spinning Girl because she makes stuff on the spinning wheel. Astrid finally gets to the point where she decides one evening, enough is enough. She goes to Spinning Girl, tells her they're booking it. They run away, being chased by Svalbard here, and then they find the younger sister. Their goal is to get to the coast of their country, to grab a ship, to go to America, to find their father, right? Easy peasy. Well, naturally, that's going to be easier said than done. And there's going to be many trials and tribulations along the way, as well as there's some magic and some spells mixed in. There's some magical realism in this historical fantasy fairy tale book. Now, this is based on fairy tales and legends from Scandinavia, as well as the real life story of the author's great-great-grandmother and what she went through when she was 13 and 14 years old as an immigrant in this part of the world. Now, this is an immigrant tale. It can be brutal at times, I will tell you that, but it's one that's eye-opening and will have you wondering this whole journey. This is West of the Moon. This one summer, okay, every summer, Rose's family travels to Owago Beach in northern Ontario, Canada, for 2 weeks. And it's those 2 weeks that Rose and Wendy are best friends, and they do everything together. Now, they only see each other these 2 weeks out of the year, Rose and Wendy, so they gotta make the most of their time together. But this summer is different, though, as Rose and Wendy are becoming teens themselves. You know, they're in that stage, you know, between, you know, kids and teenagers, you know, 12, 13 years old. And that brings a whole set of issues along with it that's different from any other summer. Now, Rose is ready to grow up, maybe faster than she should, while Wendy's still holding on to their childhood antics, which is causing a divide between Rose and Wendy. And then Rose starts observing her parents more, and she starts to see this breakdown in their marriage that, you know, that she's never really seen before, and she can't help but notice and wonder what's going to happen in the future. And then Rose starts to make new friends with a bunch of the older teens in town, including one that she kind of gets infatuated with. That would be, you know, the boy who works for the local convenience store. Now, Rose and Wendy find themselves starting to make choices that they've never had to make before, and it's going to be ones that will have them looking at their future differently, and how everything they just know is going to be different after this summer. This is told in graphic novel format through flashbacks, and you'll find yourself relating both to Rose and to Wendy as they navigate the start of their teen years and how it can be awkward and life-changing. This is This One Summer. And our last one for this week, Before I Fall. Now this is the movie's Groundhog Day meets Mean Girls, because we start by meeting Samantha Kingston, and she has worked her way up the social ladder, and now she is the most popular senior at her school along with her 3 best friends, and they are ruling the school. It's on Valentine's Day that she finds herself driving home from this wild party, and the last thing she expects is to be in this fatal car accident. Only, it's not the end for Samantha, because what happens is she wakes up and it's the start of Valentine's Day again. And she gets to kind of start living this day over and over and over again, 7 times to be exact. And as she starts each day over, she soon takes this idea that she can make whatever choices she wants. The outcome is still going to be the end, right? So she might as well just do whatever it is that she wants to do. But as she realizes that while she thinks there are no consequences, there are actually consequences. And she starts to realize that as she goes through these days that she has the ability to make choices that could possibly change the outcome of not only her situation, but maybe of others around her that she doesn't even know that she's impacted. Now, this magical realism look at life and death and how our choices can impact one another around us is one that will have you examining your own choices. And while you may predict what the outcome is going to be, there might be some twists and turns along the way that might surprise you. This is Before I Fall. So these are just 6 of the books we have here at the library that may have a likable character in their own unique way. And again, you might have read some of these, and you might be like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then others of you are going to be like, oh yes. But that's the awesome thing about books, is it lets everyone have an opinion, and you get to voice what your opinion is, whether people agree with you or not. So I encourage you to come on out. Check out one of these, see if you agree if they're unlikable characters or not. Or we can help you find another book that you may find an unlikable character in without us even knowing that it's unlikable. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new teen book spotlight.